Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good night, it's me Erica. Today we're just going to be doing your classical journaling session, so do what you need to do. If you need to mute me and play your own music and journal along with me, or if you want to listen to me ramble and watch me journal while you work on your own commonplace book or commonplace pages, scrapbook, anything like that, keep you company while you study. Hello, I'm here. I hope you're all doing okay. Oh, that's not my line. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal that. I'm recording this on the day of the solar eclipse. And this journal session is from, I don't know, maybe last Friday. And I was sitting on the back patio, just journaling in the morning. I woke up wanting to journal, which is weird. I usually journal at night, but I woke up and I've been having a lot of nightmares and weird dreams, and so I just woke up and felt like journaling and wanted to kind of figure that all out. So we are journaling about, a lot of it ended up actually being about anger today, and kind of how anger isn't exactly, it's not a bad thing. It's a tool. But yeah, I watched the solar eclipse about an hour ago. We hit our peak where I was, about an hour ago. And it wasn't a total eclipse, but we got to about 95%, which was really cool. We had the glasses, so that was fun, and we didn't have to leave the house. We just got to watch it in the backyard, which was nice. And I'm really jealous. I would love to one day be able to see a total eclipse, like be where it gets actually dark as night. That would be monumental for me. That would be a dream come true. Eclipse energy I usually feel very, very powerfully. I'm very sensitive to them usually, but this particular solar eclipse has been fine. I hesitate to say that, because again, I've been having a lot of nightmares lately, and there's definitely stuff that's been brought up. I don't know if you know anything about like the spiritual belief of eclipses and stuff, but eclipses are all about like bringing old stuff up and completing cycles and releasing really, really big heavy things and really, really big change. And so usually it's the end of summer eclipses that feel like hell for me, so perhaps I'm speaking a little too early. But this one was fine. I mean, moving has been a little hard, and it's weird to stay in a room really long term that's not your room, and that is not ever, it's like a guest room, and it's not your room, but you're here for a long time, and how do you make it feel homey and all that. But yeah, so that's what we've been up to. It got a little dim where I was, and the birds came out, and even the crickets started doing their little cricket song, which I thought was very interesting. Last time in 2017, when there was a solar eclipse, I think it only got to like 20 or 30%, and it didn't get dark at all or dim or anything, but the lighting was so weird to describe, because it was like, the best way I can describe it is if there was like a film over everything, like a gray or hazy kind of film, because it wasn't exactly like dusk, because there were still shadows, and at dusk and dawn there's not really a lot of shadows yet, because the sun is so low, there's nothing to cast the shadows. So it was really weird, because there were shadows, and the shadows were very soft and hazy, almost as if there was like a thin cloud over the sun or something. But it was dim, and it got really cool, and I felt stuff. It was very interesting. I only started to feel, again, you would have to believe in kind of some bit of spirituality for this, but I only started to feel stuff like about when it probably hit like 90% totality, and it lasted about like 10-20 minutes, and then the feeling went away. It was weird. So I don't know if you guys want me to talk more about that. I can in the next video, once I kind of figure it out and settle myself. But it was an interesting experience, it really was. But like I said, we are journaling about anger today, and about how anger isn't a bad thing. I'm working on a new book that is like unrelated to the other books I was writing, and it's like a completely new series, new characters and stuff, and it has a lot of anger in it. A lot of, I hesitate to say feminine anger, because, you know, every men and women can be angry, and I do think it's a different kind of anger, but it deals a lot with like feminine rage and like just anger in general. And I don't know, maybe someone listening needs to hear this, but like anger is not a bad thing. And so in this journal, I've talked about it when I was in therapy a lot, and if you've ever heard of parts work, I worked a lot with my anger part and kind of got to know it. But there's obviously, it's a never-ending journey of, you know, figuring out and exploring things. But essentially, anger is a very protective thing. So when you get angry or defensive, your body and your mind is trying to protect you from something, or protect your own sense of identity or beliefs or something. So it's trying to protect you. It's trying to keep you safe. It's kind of like fight or flight, right? But it's like fight instead of flight or fawn. And it can let you know what you're passionate about and what's really important to you. I've learned that a lot about jealousy too. I'm not a very jealous person. I don't experience jealousy very often. I'm not a very envious person either, like with anything. But I don't know, the past year it's kind of come up a little bit, and I'm like I've experienced like actual jealousy, and I was like, what is this? Like, I don't know this feeling. I've never really felt this before. And like jealousy it's telling you what you want. Jealousy is telling you what you lack, and obviously it's like not, you have to look past the surface level. Like if you're jealous of like how much money someone has, you're probably not jealous of the money, you're probably jealous of like the stability or the security that their money gives them, something like that. Or if you're jealous that somebody has a boyfriend, you're probably not jealous that they have a partner, you're jealous that like they have someone they can lean on emotionally and financially or whatever. So it's never about what the surface level thing is. But same with anger, it's usually telling you that something is wrong and there's something really important there that you're passionate about, that needs to be addressed, and kind of allowing yourself to sit in that anger and get curious about it kind of opens up a whole world. And anger is best when it is released in a healthy way. We all get angry and stuff like that. So a lot of the book that I'm reading is about, you know, the main character has to come to terms with this anger. Oh, that's the other thing, is anger really inspires us to act. It is a very actionable emotion. Like it motivates us to move physically, and to do something. And, you know, sometimes people make poor choices or impulsive decisions, again, just because they're trying to protect or whatever. And that can lead people to do some pretty, you know, not great stuff, but it can also lead people to do good stuff. It can motivate people to get involved in politics or to advocate or to stand up for someone or something, and that's good. But the character in this book kind of has to figure out what she wants to do with her anger and how she wants to act on it. And because it's fiction, you get to live out a lot of fantasies or possibilities that would not be possible in real life. And so that's another thing I learned in therapy, is when you have like these weird fantasies of like intrusive thoughts or just weird fantasies or weird dreams, and maybe you're not doing something that you would ever do in real life, that's okay. Like, we don't need to feel guilty or shamed about it. It's a very human thing to have really, really aggressive thoughts. Maybe not all the time. And I definitely recommend talking about it with someone if it's common. Obviously, I'm not a mental health professional. Please don't take what I say as advice. But, you know, we're allowed to have like really bad dreams where we do bad things. It's just a dream. Or if we're really, really angry at someone and we imagine doing something really quickly in our head, but then we don't actually do it, like, that's okay. It's a very human thing. But in books, you get to actually kind of play out or act that fantasy, or your character does. And so because it's not real. And so that's kind of what this story is exploring. And I think, circling back to the eclipse, that's probably what this eclipse is about for me. I know it's in Aries, which is also very anger, passion, aggression, motivation kind of type sign. If you believe in that, very fiery, very passionate. So that makes sense that this would come up for me around the time of the eclipse. But yeah, like, so I guess that's the update of like a new book I'm working on. It's kind of an apocalypse type book where all the lights go off. And I actually started it in college, right around COVID. So this has been like one of the slowest books I've ever written, and also I think one of the most emotionally draining. When I was in college and I was working on it, I only had to write 3 chapters, and I was such an emotional wreck that it was fine, and it came out with such a beautiful, very interesting writing style, and a very interesting character and concept, that I think was me trying to work through emotionally a lot of things that were happening when COVID had first started and I had to go home and all that stuff. And even now, I think this story is about something a lot deeper, and it's definitely, and its very first draft is going to be a lot of emotional healing for me. If you're a writer or even an artist, I think first drafts are allowed to be self-insert-ish, and allow you to work through whatever you're going to work through, because the more you edit and the more you work with your characters and you get to know them, or the more you work on a piece, it will shift and it will transform and it will become about something else, and you know, your characters will become their own people and all that. That's how it was with my other books that I've written. Is the first draft, I swear, if you go back, it's like looking at my own life. But now, in the drafts and the iterations they're at now, everyone is very much like a character. They're not based on anything in real life, but that first draft very much was. And so I think that's why this first draft is so hard to write and is so emotionally exhausting, and is easier to write when I've had a glass or 2 of wine, and is giving me weird dreams, and is very difficult to write. And it's just because it's a first draft and it's going to be very healing. That's how I've always healed, is through writing. That's why I journal. I make sense of my thoughts through words and through being dramatic in words. I posted on Instagram the other day, what was it, like a week's worth of first sentences of my journal entries. They were so dramatic. I'm very dramatic when I write and very dramatic when I journal, and I think that's okay. We're all just dramatic beings in our head. I'm so dramatic in my mind and so dramatic in my own head, but that's okay. And that's what a journal is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a safe place for you to be dramatic and, you know, be so emotional and be whatever you need to be and let it all out. And I think if anyone I knew in real life read my journals, they would think they were talking to like a different person. Maybe not a different person, but like there are a lot of thoughts that I keep to myself and a lot of dramatics that I keep to myself because, you know, that's just life. But yeah, it was a really good journaling session. It was nice in the morning. We discovered a little bit about anger, and then I texted a friend about kind of dealing, you know, with her perspective on kind of different mythical beings and creatures that have to do with anger and jealousy and stuff like that. So it just ended up being a really good, fun conversation. And yeah, it felt a lot settled, and I of course haven't worked on that book since because I have just been so busy. I did not get a weekend. I was busy all day, both days of this weekend, and so I'm very tired. My introvert self would like to go lay down for a 2-day nap and not speak to anyone, which is probably why I'm hiding in my room recording a voiceover. But I'm excited to commonplace. I've got quite a few spreads I want to do, so make sure to stick around for that if you're interested. And the weather is so good. Everything's green, and so a lot of pictures and things in my journal are going to be green, and it's just a good time. We're just living, we're just having a good time. And again, I say that now, but like yesterday I was miserable by the end of it. I was like, oh my god, I'm so tired. I was like, I'm so done with these people. I would like to go home. And then I came home and I had a glass of wine and it went straight to my head. Straight. I don't usually get tipsy or drunk off one glass of wine, and I had lunch, so I was so exhausted and tired and done with everything that one glass of wine just made me like, it made me feel better, but it was a lot. But anyway, I hope to see you guys next week for an actual commonplace page, and I hope you guys are doing lovely. I hope you have a lovely day, because you guys 100% deserve it. I will see you all next time.